Hi, everyone. I'm Chris.
And I'm Cassie. Welcome to a new deep dive with us.
Today, we're digging into some pretty ancient wisdom, actually, but with a very modern angle.
Yeah, we're looking at the financial wisdom from King Solomon. It's fascinating stuff.
We're basically trying to pull out those timeless financial lessons, the ones that still work today.
Exactly. Think of this as, well, a shortcut. We want to give you practical insights from these old teachings for your finances now without making it too heavy.
Okay, so let's get into it. Solomon, famously wise, right? The source starts with the big one. Wisdom is more precious than rubies.
And nothing you desire can compare with her. It's powerful.
But how does that translate to, managing your bank account? What does wisdom mean financially?
Well, it's not just knowing things. It's about sound judgment. It's understanding the basics before you jump into investing or even deciding how much to save. Financial literacy, basically.
Right. Making informed choices instead of, just reacting.
Exactly. Avoid those impulsive moves.
So for you listening, the practical side of this is, making financial education a priority.
Could be books, maybe a workshop, even talking to a credible expert, like a financial advisor.
Or even just subscribing to some good finance podcasts or YouTube channels, stuff that keeps you informed.
Yeah. The idea is that knowledge reduces those poorly thought out decisions. When you understand the why, you're less likely to make mistakes based on fear or hype.
Makes sense. Okay, so moving on a bit. There's this bit from Ecclesiastes about investing.
Oh yeah, the diversification one. Invest in 7 ventures. Yes, in 8.
You do not know what disaster may come upon the land. Why is that still such a core idea?
Because life is unpredictable, right? Markets go up and down, things happen. Diversification, spreading your investments around, it's just a smart way to manage that uncertainty. It cushions the blows.
But 7 or 8 ventures sounds like a lot if you're just starting. Seems a bit overwhelming, maybe.
It can sound that way, but you don't need huge amounts of money to start now. The source mentions things like fractional shares, buying tiny bits of stocks.
Oh, right, yeah.
Or pooled funds like ETFs or mutual funds, where your money is automatically spread across lots of different investments.
So you can start small and build up. Gradually create a mix of things like stocks, bonds, maybe even a bit of real estate through REITs.
Exactly. REITs are just companies holding income-producing properties, basically. The key is starting and gradually balancing things out. You don't have to do it all at once. Small steps matter.
Okay, so wisdom first, then diversification. What's next? Hard work.
Yep. Proverbs 14.23. All hard work brings a profit, but mere talk leads only to poverty. Pretty direct.
Very direct. How does that play out today beyond just, having a job?
It's about being proactive with your finances. Consistent effort pays off, whether that's managing your money carefully, building a business, or strategically investing. It's about action, not just intentions.
The source mentions both hard work, like actively budgeting and saving, and smart work.
Right, like automating things, setting up automatic transfers to savings or investments. That takes the effort out of it each month.
And it also mentioned improving your skills to boost your income. That's definitely work that can bring profit. Maybe using budgeting apps like YNA or Mint counts as part of that active management too.
For sure. It's about being engaged, putting in that consistent effort to manage what you have and potentially grow it. Are you actively doing that? That's the question for the listener.
Good point. And that flows right into the next idea. Planning and budgeting.
Proverbs 21.5. The plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty. Haste leads to poverty. That's a strong warning.
It really is. So having a plan, a budget, it stops you from making those rash, impulsive decisions.
Absolutely. It gives you a roadmap. You know where your money is supposed to go, so you're making conscious choices, not just spending on a whim. It's about intentionality.
The source suggests that 50-30-20 rule as a starting point. 50% needs, 30% wants, 20% savings or debt.
Yeah, it's a simple framework. And crucially, reviewing it regularly. Your life changes, your budget should too. Use the tools available, whether it's an app or just a spreadsheet.
It's about control, not restriction, really.
Exactly. Knowing where you stand gives you power.
Okay, now this one feels incredibly modern, even though it's ancient. Avoiding debt. The borrower is slave to the lender.
Oof. Yeah, that hits home, doesn't it? It speaks directly to financial freedom. Too much debt just weighs you down, limits your choices.
So the wisdom is about living within your means, being careful with loans.
Definitely. Prioritizing what's essential, cutting back on maybe the non-essentials, really understanding needs versus wants.
The source talks about distinguishing those wants and needs.
Yeah.
And if you do need to borrow, say, for a house or education.
Then go for low-interest options with a clear repayment plan you can actually handle.
And I liked the idea of sinking funds. Can you explain that again quickly?
Sure. Well, it's just saving up specifically for a future expense. Like, you'll need new tires eventually, so you put aside, say, $20 a month. When the time comes, the money's there. No debt needed.
Smart. It avoids that sudden hit to the budget or reaching for a credit card.
It's all about maintaining control and avoiding that slave to the lender situation.
Okay, what about generosity? A generous person will prosper. How does that fit with financial planning? Seems a bit different.
It might seem counterintuitive at first, like giving money away reduces your wealth, but the perspective here is more holistic. Cultivating generosity brings personal satisfaction, strengthens communities, and sometimes, it leads to unexpected positive returns, even if not directly financial. It aligns your money with your values.
So the practical advice is to actually plan for giving. Set aside a percentage in your budget.
Exactly. Maybe automate it so it's consistent. It's about being thoughtful, making it part of your financial picture, not just a random impulse that might mess up your own budget.
So planning applies even to being generous. Interesting. Okay, next up, integrity.
Super important. Proverbs 16.8. Better a little with righteousness than much gain with injustice.
So how you make your money matters as much as how much you make.
Absolutely. Honesty, ethics, they build trust. And trust is fundamental for long-term success, whether in business or just your reputation. Unethical shortcuts might seem quick, but they rarely last and can damage you significantly.
The source mentions things like ethical investing now, ESG funds, environmental, social, governance.
Yeah, or faith-based funds, ways to align your investments with your values, but you still need to do your homework, make sure they really are ethical by your standards.
Right. Due diligence is key. It's about building wealth on a solid ethical foundation.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay, another big one, saving for the future. This feels related to planning, but maybe more long-term.
Definitely. Proverbs 21.20. The wise store up choice food and olive oil, but fools gulp theirs down.
Don't be the fool who gulps it down. So it's about not spending everything immediately, being prepared.
Precisely. It's about having foresight, recognizing that life has ups and downs, lean times might come. It counters that live for today only mentality.
The practical steps are pretty clear here. Build that emergency fund, aim for 3-6 months of living expense.
And consistently save for retirement. The source suggests aiming for 15-20% of your income across various accounts. And like budgeting, regularly check if your savings cushion is still adequate.
It's that contrast again, short-term gratification versus long-term security.
Exactly. Savings provide that vital safety net.
Now this next one is interesting, investing in people, relationships.
Yeah, Proverbs 27.1 city. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another.
How does that connect to finance? It sounds more like personal development.
Well, think about it. Who do you get advice from? Where do job opportunities or business leads come from? Often it's your network, your relationships.
Okay. So networking, building connections that can have real financial benefits.
It definitely can. Attending events, joining groups, even participating in online forums relevant to your field or interests. Plus, strong personal relationships offer crucial emotional and practical support, especially if you hit financial challenges.
So your network is kind of an intangible asset.
You could say that. Investing time and genuine effort in relationships can pay dividends, both personally and financially.
Got it. Okay, nearly there. The final principle, leaving a legacy.
Proverbs 13.22. A good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children, thinking beyond just yourself.
So this is about generational wealth, planning for the future of your family.
Exactly. Making financial decisions today with an eye towards how they might benefit future generations. It's a long-term perspective.
The practical steps mentioned are things like, well, getting a will sorted.
Crucial. Also considering life insurance for protection, maybe setting up trusts to manage things efficiently and minimize taxes.
And, importantly, educating your kids or heirs about handling money responsibly, passing on the wisdom, not just the wealth.
That's a really key part of it. What good is an inheritance if the next generation doesn't know how to manage it wisely?
So asking yourself, what kind of financial future do you want to help create for your loved ones?
It's a powerful motivator for sound financial planning.
Wow. Okay, so pulling it all together.
Yeah.
Solomon's wisdom is really holistic, isn't it? It's practical steps, yes, but woven through with ethics, relationships, long-term thinking.
Absolutely. It's not just about getting rich quick. It's about building sustainable, meaningful financial well-being.
So thinking about all this, what's one aspect that really stands out to you, and maybe one actionable thing someone listening could do, like today?
For me, it still comes back to that first point, the primacy of wisdom. Just understanding.
Yeah.
So an actionable step, maybe just commit 15 minutes today, read one article from a trusted source, or listen to a short financial podcast segment about something you're unsure of. Just start building that knowledge base consistently.
I like that. Small steps. For you listening, maybe pause and think. Which of these ideas hit home for you? What's one tiny thing you could start doing differently today?
Yeah, make it concrete.
Thanks for diving deep with us. Please like, subscribe, share, and hit the notification bell for more real talk on hot, viral topics. Tell us what topic you want us to deep dive on in the comments section. Bye, everyone, and see you again in our next podcast.
See you next time.